Hey, welcome to the Dutchman's Wood Shack, everybody. Pass me on. Don't forget to subscribe. You'll hear more of me. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to experiment a little bit. See if I can't make a mini vase. So that's what I'm working on right now. And this is a piece of arborvitae bush branch that I'm using. So we'll see how that goes. There's a 120 grit sandpaper on here. Okay, so I'm trying to make a mini base. I don't know if it works. This stuff is really porous. It tears a lot. My tools aren't that dull, dude. I gotta get some of the emphasis. Now, since it's porous and soft, I gotta be really careful I don't take too much off, especially a small piece. See now, see how that is? See how that's feathery? That's chunky. Oh, you guys can't see it. That's kind of like a pain in the butt to get rid of, but that's type of wood. It's very fibrous. You know, the cedar tree looks like, right? You guys out there, wherever you're at, the cedar tree is kind of like that. Different kinds of cedars. I mean, I've got cedar fencing in here, cedar fence posts. I should turn my other thing out so. I got to figure out a way to put, when I'm sanding, I put a box over this so the sand is a little bit different. I see you. All you guys out there. Peckworth, I see you. Yeah. You have to forgive me. I don't have my glasses on, so. Now, to you guys that don't have electricity, I know some of you guys are in Africa and Nigeria. You can do lathe work. You use your foot to do it. But if you look up, if you're on here, there's YouTube instructions on how to actually build or get a kit and how to make a lathe. Well, at least around here, 200-300 years ago, without power. And it's called a trundle lathe, and you basically do this. You make it out of string. It's kind of like you would be weaving when you're trying to pull wool off a sheep and make yarn out of it. The same idea. That would work good. So you don't need electricity to do it. That would be kind of cool. Now, it's about as good as you're going to get it, all right? I'm not worried about the bottom being at a slant because I'll take that over on a drill press when I get to sanding it and do that. Hey, Steven, how you doing? I know. I haven't owned it. Well, when you get a bad hip, it makes you feel like one, I'll tell you. Yeah, I have to get an operation sooner or later, so we'll see how that goes. So now I'm going to 320. It's, I swear by these things. It takes me forever to go through this. So, see now that looks pretty good. You see that? You see the grain in that? And it got a little bit of the bark in there. But when I started out with this, I started out with a bent twig, basically. I don't know why these things don't grab me. For some reason, they're being a pain in the butt lately. So. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a little bit of touch. A little bit of a touch to it. Hopefully, I won't ruin it, but I'm going to use my skinny glasses on this one. Okay, so can't find my shit. Yep. All right, I'm gonna put a couple of grooves in here. Groove it, baby. Groove it, baby. Come on, one. A little bit more. Okay. Just like that. It makes it so good. So good. Feel good, baby. Make sure you got everything the way you want it. So, that's simple now. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and carve a little bit in here. I'm going to try and go down a little bit. A little bit. Who knows? I don't know Spanish. Minute. Now I wanted to show you something here. Okay, so this is part of a branch off of arborvitae on the side of my house, actually. When I was trimming the bushes, I thought we'd put it around. It was pretty good size. But you see, because it was shaped weird, I took a lot off. But here's the thing. Oh, I'll show you. Hang on a second. Okay, so this is part of what I did. This is the branch I use. That's part of it. But you see the middle, right? Okay, so the center of this thing, the center of this cambium layer, when you take it, you're turning it. So the only thing that's really dark is the center, right? And then the outside edges. What the idea is to get a branch like this and try and turn it. Now you're offset, which is not a big deal. If you wanted to make it straight, it's bent. That's how this was, and that's how you get this effect because it's the brown part shows up on the outside. Now, if if you went all the way down, you would have a brown side. It's hard to show you here, but it's brown in the middle, all right, or a sandy color. If you want that effect of the grain, you want to get a piece of wood that has that. Not all wood's like that. Pine is that way. Not all pine has that grain. So I believe this is like a poplar. Okay, so if you look at it, the grain is it's there, right? With something like this, you could probably stain it. Now, what I could do is cut this in half. A lot of times I use this for doing segmenting on my bowls. I make pretty good sized bowls with this, and it's pretty good. A couple of things that kind of go against the rules, though. When you're doing this, what happens is, end grains. In the end of your bowl, you're gonna have a problem with it. So technically, you want it this way, or you want to do the segmenting part where you have the pitch. I think it's 22.5 or something where you cut it, but you always only have this. The bad part is you're only seeing this stuff at the top and the bottom. So if you want to get creative, you could always do something different and see what happens. Thicker piece of wood. Typically, you get something from a sawmill. It's like 3/4 of an inch, 7/8 of an inch thick. If you get a lot of that grade look, you could glue it together and have a bit of more of a grainy look on the side. But it depends on the wood. That's why you have to do the research on whatever project you're doing for wood. It's the science of wood. Woodology is what they call it. I wonder if I can use it. Not all wood is really, a lot of people like to use, like for instance, cabinets are made out of wood that doesn't have a lot of grain in it, which I don't know if I like that or not, but the pine, because they all do this paint on it. They go take it through and put paint on it, and what do they call it? Anyway. Now the trick of it is with this, if I'm going to drill a piece in there, you know what, I'm probably only going to do a 1/4 inch. I'm only going to go down so far anyway. That's where I take it at a drill press. You also could do it on here. I have to change the heads out on my chuck, which is, I could do that too. It just depends on how cheap you are with it. How much you want it. Or if the quick way is to go put a clamp on this and put it on the drill, but without having it straight, you're kind of taking a chance. You got to be really careful with that. So What do we got there? Yeah, you're right, but unfortunately, this phone won't let me do that. Um, I have a tablet that I can use, but I don't trust it. It's like 10 years old and it cuts out. So I might next time around use my tablet. It's wider, of course. Um, Sometimes I take and expand this so you guys can see what I'm doing. But this is so small, I don't know if it matters. But you're right. You're right. Welcome, by the way. I don't know if I've seen you here before again, Boxcar. Oh yeah, you know what? You're one of the guys off a train channel, right? That's awesome. A lot of the guys on that train channel have helped me out on my stupid connectors. And just so you know, it's right there. See, I got the best of both worlds. So I'm still having issues with some of the cars, but it's kind of bizarre. I'll have to show you guys later when I do a video on it. But I love you guys on that channel. Awesome. And I can't thank you guys enough. Well, yeah, you guys jumped at it right away. I mean, that night I was talking about it. All of a sudden, I got 5 guys on here. That's awesome. And I've been having issues off and on, but in fact, the only reason I'm in there now is because I figured people would get bored watching me work on my wiring. And at this point, that's kind of what I'm doing a little bit of. But with this, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll have to expand it, but there you go. I'm trying to make a mini vase, just so you know it. And I've done here, this thing here, one of my gouging tools. It gets you in there pretty far. He's pointed like this. The other one has got kind of a hook to it. So if I wanted to get in a little bit further, like this, see how I can do that? A lot of times when I'm doing Christmas trees, I use this for rounding things out. So, and then I've got the straight one. But I've got to figure out how to sharpen those. I haven't done that, so. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and get this out of here. So, with this, I can take this off. It should pop off here. Yeah, it'll pop off. And there you go. Now, what you do, you see that's at an angle right now. That's what I put a sander on the bottom of that for. Now, with something like that, you got to be careful what you're going to use to gouge that out with. You can use a gouge. I could get my chuck back on here and use a gouging tool and do that to a certain point. The only problem is it takes me forever to put that gouging tool on the chuck together. So hang on a second here. Okay, so now what you do is what I like to do a little bit of is try and gouge that middle part out just a tad. Just enough to make a little bit of a round thing. And I usually use it on a drill press, or I'll take a little bit of a 1/4 inch drill bit and just put a little indentation in there. So, but see, the idea is to get something like this that has a little bit of character to it. So now, what you could do with this, which would really make it look good, would be to seal this, or to just lightly stain it with some color stain. Like I probably use I have this stuff, it's called gunstock, and I love it. It's like a cherry look kind of thing. So that's kind of a one. I could do a bell too. The other thing is trying to make it look somewhat. You could take it, look like it's burnt. You need a couple of ways you could do that too. If you've got a propane torch, you could burn it just really so slightly and then sand it off, so that these rings here will show up dark. Or you could take a piece of wire and as you're turning it, it'll take and burn this in. I just had the inspection boss go by. What do you think, inspection boss? Good girl.
Are you going to take the middle out?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit.
That's different.
It's a mini vase.
That's adorable.
See?
That's adorable. Maybe I'll make a mini flower.
Yeah. Okay, so I had this idea before you go. I had this idea. Okay, see, one of my ideas was, I do resin work, right? So, here's what I'm thinking. I can make a vase within a vase. You ever see that? Okay, so I get a 16-ounce cup. And fill it full of resin. Stick this to the bottom. And carve it. And just enough to where you have a vase in a vase, but you also have, you can have this in the middle gouge out enough to where you can put your flowers in it. See, never stop thinking, never be in a mess, stop imagining. The one thing I tell people is think outside the box. That's what's wrong with the world today. They don't think outside the box. It's always the same old, same old. Be different, be yourself, but be different at the same time. And here's another thing. All right, I have a different way of using my tools. So when people look at me and they go, "Well, you're using the wrong tool," no, I'm not. First thing I'll tell them, this is my tool. This is what I want to use. Yeah, I don't care what you use. I'm not going to sit there and criticize people for not using it. Biggest problem I have is with people with boom gouges, okay? This is fine to a certain point, but you see the tips on this? It has a tendency to grab and leave big gouge marks. I've used it. I do not like it. I like this better. Well, what I use the most of? This. There's a plus for two. There's pros and cons for both. The pro about this 99% of the time is this tip comes off. I can replace that. For me to sharpen that would take forever, and I don't do it right. So I have to pay somebody $10-15 to sharpen my tools. Now, as a turner, as a professional, first thing I would tell people, that's it. I am a professional and I do this for a living, so for the most part, these tools I have in here, I don't use half of them. These are rough gouging tools, and I use these when I'm doing heavy work on a lot of bark stuff. But I found out a way to do it without bark stuff. What happens is I get a draw knife, and I take all the bark off before I spin it. It saves me a lot of time. I mean, it makes a mess. It'll go all over this place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over to my drill press. I gotta get my lathe. Now, when I'm doing small stuff, you have to have like 15 different kinds of clamps. I tell you, some of them work good, some of them don't. This one I like for this particular reason, the grooves in it. Now, there's a lot of people I know. You can take these off, by the way, and replace them. Plus, you could, just so people know, you could take and actually reverse this. So this goes that way. So you could do it this way. So what I'm going to do here is I got it in that groove. Okay, so then you have to raise this. But I've got to get a small jig for this. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but so I've got to get a 1/4 inch drill bit. No, I don't make that. Yeah, I've got some drill bits over here I'm going to get. Yeah, any dandy drill bits. See, I have all these drill bits over here. Yeah, that cracked. Yeah. Okay, so some of them, these are paddle bits. I can use that if I want, but I like to use these. They're like countersink, like these, but here's the thing, try and get them out. There's a pretty good collection of drill bits. The problem is I never replace them, they break. Pretty bad, huh? I've got to start doing that though. I'm missing a lot of drill bits. Well, I try to tell people ahead of time. When you're doing woodworking, what's the reason first? What are you going to build? And the first thing I tell people, research it. Okay, for instance, I did this table. Okay, I have that in my hallway. The only thing I didn't do that was different about it is I didn't do this because I don't have the capabilities to turn it outside my motor. My lathe doesn't set up that way. I could have cut a hole in it and set a bowl on top of it, but I didn't want to because it takes too much. Then it's just a showpiece. It is a floating table. I did everything else to it. I turned the legs. This here is like an inch and a quarter thick. What I did was I took oak wood flooring and I glued it together. But here's the reason I'm bringing this up. Okay, there's the plans. There's the plans for it right there, right? If you come across, and this is the Woodworking magazine, if you do the research and look at this, now look at the wood that you're going to use and say, okay, what's going to give it the most punch? I like grain. I like grain. So, okay, so for instance, this grain here, this is oak wood flooring. All right, white oak. Or is it red oak? Red oak. Okay. Now some of the wood in here is a little bit darker, but this stuff I got from a friend of mine who works for a company. He gave me a whole bunch for like $20. It was like $300 worth of wood. Really, really good stuff. Okay. I got a bunch of this and I glued it together. Two things you have to do, or three things. One is cut the ends off. You take the mortise and tenon part off of it, and then you have to take it and take your thickness planer and go down. When you do the thickness planer, when you start out with this piece, it's usually like 3/4 inch thick. Well, it'll take it down to about 5/8. So what happens is when you do that, you basically are making it skinnier. So I had to 5/8 times 2, so I had to make it, it's a little bit smaller thickness wise from those plans, but it didn't matter because I think it was only off an eighth of an inch or something. You play with it. You get the grain that you want. That's how you lay the patterns out. I have pictures of it in there, by the way, on my channel here that shows you what I did. It was a fun project to do. 99% of the time when I'm doing stuff, I always tell people, do this. You know, do something that's simple. Get wood that doesn't cost you a lot. I take scrap. I've got a lot of this. This is wood off of pallet wood. I use that all the time. I'll use it for practicing. A lot of times you can make some good stuff out of that. You can make boxes. I've made all kinds of stuff. I actually use that in barnwood flooring, or cedar barn stuff to make an outhouse for a lady once. There you go. One of my good friend, Mary Pat, she has the outhouse in her backyard. It's a garden thing. I love making it. I didn't get enough people wanting that. I love making it. It's a fun project. So that's why I get a big thing about grade. Make it, don't make it, unless you want it that way. And then it comes down to the stain too. So, okay, so now what I'm going to do here, okay, you see that. Now I have to raise it up a little bit, or raise this down, I mean. Just a tad. Okay, so then unlock this. Now, the one thing that I have wrong that I tell people here is I don't have a way to get a grip. When I say get a grip, that straight. This thing's being stubborn. Well, so when I turn this on, I want to make sure I'm dead center of what I'm doing, right? And I'm not worried about it too much because I'm only going to go down so far. The one thing I would tell people, That's the problem with holding it. It's off center. But you know what? Doesn't matter because when I've carved this out a little bit, I'm gonna have it on a chuck. So now comes the fun part. This is a Barracuda 2 truck. And all of its parts are right here. That's the other chuck, by the way. Okay, so we're gonna come over here. I always say stand by. I think you guys get tired of that. You guys with me? Well, for other people out there that haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Then you get my notices when I'm on. Okay, this is cool. I have to show you this. So when you get this, you get all these. So basically, what I need, see, I can't, this is too small, right? So what I need is this one. And that be it. So what you want to do is take these off. Now, two things you got to remember. One is, don't lose the screws. They're not very long. If you get one of these, try and get them magnetized so it works. The other thing is, these are numbered. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, these three, these all have, I think they have numbers on the back of them, I'm sure. But they have grooves in them too. Some of them have it, I know. Yeah, see, they're on the top. There's numbers imprinted on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. The idea is you want to match up the, I don't know what to call it, the screw joints in there, so that I don't want to mount big. I have extra screws too, so okay, which one? That was 3. I think so. 4. Of course, go figure to pick up the last one. And see, now there's a groove in there, so this groove sits, this sits in the groove. Groove it, baby. Like that. That makes life easier. So much simpler. Oh, kinda. Oh, it's the same size. No. So now, like I said, this is a Barracuda 2, and there's a lot of things you could get to for adapters of it. The only thing I can tell you is this does not have a stop on it to keep it from going too far. So you have to be careful, because once you do that, you're literally screwed. Trying to put it back in the right place is a pain. I had that happen. Okay, so I should have music in there, but they tag me for having music. You know that? Unless I play some weird space flick or something, I guess. I thought about making my own version, but I don't think you guys would love it. Want to listen to me doing my stuff, you know. I can't sing when I sound like Mick Jagger right now. Or what's his name in AC/DC? I could do that. Scare the daylights out of everybody out here. Oh yeah. I want to thank all you guys for watching me. You know, really appreciate that. You know, I'm trying to get viewership. So, and the other thing is too, if you've got questions or comments, don't hesitate. I know the live chat, and some of you do chat, some of you don't. I know 7 on there. I only see a couple people writing me, but you know, at least leave a message. Just tell me what you think. I kind of like to hear what you guys think because I like to put certain contents. Now, in the past, I've done things with doing craft stuff. So not only do I turn, I'll do some other stuff too. Like, what is it? I'll do some work on building birdhouses. Or I'll do one time about how to recycle something. That one doesn't fit, right? So. That's the other thing, you gotta make sure these things fit right. I've had problems with that. Okay, we're good to go. You see, now I can stick this inside there. What I'm gonna do now is I'll bring it back over here. I'm not going to go down probably very far with this, so I don't want to. For fear of me breaking stuff if I don't stop jumping it. Jesus. Interesting. Okay, so what I have to do here is this. Now, because my pins in there don't work. Somebody once asked me why I don't do it a certain way. Well, you know how many different ways you can do something? I thought about doing a show strictly on stuff like that. Just say, how many different ways can you turn something? There's carvers that don't turn. They just basically carve out. There's guys that use a, what do you call it, a grinder. Hand grinder, all kinds of stuff, right? So, anyway, oops, very good. Now you need, this is the expander, incredible expander. Incredible expander. Now, 2 things when you got something small, because these are going to leave a mark. But one thing is you want to get this centered as much as possible before you tighten that down. Because if you got it off centered, you'd be beating yourself in the head with it, trying to get something done out right. Okay, so I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit more. Now you could have done this, and that's the other way, doing it different. I could do this in the beginning and have a hole drilled in it before I started this. Now, what's that look like? See? So now what you want to do is you want to turn this thing sideways. And it gets a little tricky in here, so I'm not here to do a lot. And this is where I say when you put the chuck on this, okay, this is much easier. You take the chuck on this instead of on the drill up there, this, and it makes things easier. See, I don't know if I could get that off. I might even do that because I don't know if I trust me trying to gouge it out. So there's a way to get this off. Hold please. Help please. Now you got two, this one's got two bearings on it, alright? Now if anybody that's ever done wheel bearings on a trailer or a car, you know how you're going to do this, alright? You got an idea. And the one thing you don't want to do is get it offset, alright? So, usually I can pull it off, you see? Pull it off. I pulled it off! Like that. And that's all it is. The only thing bad about this one, this came stock with this, is I need to get the head that has straight out. Because when I get down to this point, trying to do like my Christmas trees, that's why I leave the extra on there. I can't go all the way down. But then, trying to remember how I got this off last. See, this is me, okay? I had this off once before. This thing comes off too. I gotta. Might be stubborn on me. Hang on a second. I gotta do something like that to get myself a little bit more room. You know what I mean? I used to have a steel rod. You know, I have to do it. Steel rod would work perfect for that. This piece comes off, by the way. Don't know if it's coming off or not, but it's coming off. It's moving. It is moving, I believe. Well, you know what? I'm going to be parting with this problem in the face. Don't know why it's not coming off. So, I'm going to try and do this. With this tool. Anyway, one thing I can tell you is because this is old, this is actually a recon, even though it says Craftsman on it. They made it for Craftsman. These things are, you could get another one to replace this with. It's kind of interchangeable. It's almost to the point where you almost need two. And I would highly recommend you have two. One set up for this and one set up for that. That way you can, you don't have to fight with changing things all the time. You see what I was afraid of? That was the problem. Yeah, that's not gonna work. And it leaves marks. Yeah, I went down here farther. I'm gonna try something. That's the problem I have with this. And I have no way of doing this. That thing would work perfect if I could get it apart. See, that doesn't sit flat, does it? Dad, help me! Well, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna cheat. I can't get this out. I used to be able to get it. If I got it far enough out, I could do it, but I don't know. I have no way of getting that off of there. That's the problem. I don't even know if it's going out. Holy World War II. Believe it or not, I had something that would work one time, but yeah. Well, I'm fighting myself, guys. Sorry about that. I've got to get this off somehow. Well, so much for that. I'll just have to do. But here's my problem. Soft wood. So that means I'm sanding some more. Anyway. Hey, buddy. What's going on? Larry. Kilroy. Did you get your spaceship done, Captain? So, what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to do this again, except I'm going to use a bigger bit. And hopefully I can use one that's bigger. Oh, by the way, Christmas gift. I don't. It's probably spelled backwards on here. I don't know. One thing I can tell you is the one thing I did different this time is I started out making this without drilling the hole. And honestly, I think I could probably start out doing it before I even turn it all the way. It'd be easier, because right now I'm frustrated as all get out. I kind of butchered it, so there you go. Okay, so first thing I'll tell you is take note of this, right? Don't do this at home. This thing's a piece of junk too. Hey, I'm gonna throw disclaimers out there, right? Don't do this at home. Oh yeah, Kilroy. I understand Brian Warner passed away. That's a bummer. I always liked his shows. You know, I saw that on Russ's site. Um, See, that's one of those things where I wished I was able to see that when he was doing that memorial, because I would have put my 10 cents in, but unfortunately, because I can't do any live chat on his show, and I don't, still can't figure that one out, but, you know, it's kind of frustrating in a way. You know, if I piss somebody off, at least tell me about it, that's what I say. You know, the one thing I liked about doing Russ's show when I was there, he didn't start in the beginning. He was doing all kinds of stuff, and I liked it. But, you know, if I set him off because I was talking about, he should just shut up and talk about his own, instead of his own stuff, somebody else's stuff. I don't know. But, well, that one locked. See, the problem with these things, they're old. They don't lock like shit. It pissed me off. I'll do this for him anyway, guys. Well, that's all the further I'm going with it. Screw it. Now that I put your dad up. Well, I'm going to put it on here. I'll get this lined up as smart as fast as I can, because I know I'm not going to be able to get that head off. So, heads up. Now, when you make sure that you put this on, Oh, that's fine. What do they do? What are they? Crap. I always like to spray some. Now it's critical that you get this on straight. Because what happens if you don't, it gets all out of whack and you're screwed. And then never hit your piece of equipment with you know, I can get away with doing that. I just I don't know. This thing is getting kind of. It's an old piece, so I don't know. Maybe I can do. You see how it's going on crooked? That's not right either. So. There it goes. A little bit easier. Man, I don't know why I have such a problem with that stupid thing. Okay, so now I got that even there. Do I drop that? Am I boring you guys to death out there? Watching me screw up things? Okay, so now I gotta do this. I don't know if I can do it with this. I'm gonna try. Give it a try. That's the problem I have with some of these tools I got. I don't think I have the right. Some of the guys have got gouging tools that are slow in life, so there you go. See what happens. So, because I can't get that thing fixed, I have no problem, but see what happens. So, I'm gonna have to finish this off. Well, I kind of screwed up. I should have done the hole first. I think. I don't know. I've done it this way before, though. See, that's the other thing. So, see how that doesn't want to sit in there straight? And there's a hole in the middle, so unfortunately, they don't help me any. Anyway, you had to learn the lesson of what not to do for me today. I can tell you that. Never do this to young kids. Be like those guys jumping off the road with their motorcycles. There's one on YouTube where they, what do you call it? The Red Bull guys are jumping their motorcycles. Crazy. Now I remember this. I don't know if you remember Shaun White in the Olympics. You guys ever remember watching the skiing Olympics? Shaun White used to do that with his. He had this place in Northern California used to go to. I've seen some of it, but when I used to go skiing up there, he had this gigantic hill that they used to jump on. It was almost like a ski jump. Well, it was a ski jump, but. Okay, so, well, that's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, well, I got to sand that down. I just realized my, gosh darn it. Well, see, I'm done. I'm done. I just say the Papa's done it. Well, not really. Hang on a second. Voila. Got all the indentations out of it. There you go. Rule number 1. Drill the hole first. I'm like Pinocchio. I tell everybody what to do and then I forget how to do it. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, so now this is just so you, because you missed it, Kilroy. This is an arborvitae bush. That's from this. And I save scraps. Okay, so yeah, I'm a doofus, but you see how that's how mine was when I started it. Okay, so I always, with something like this, I always like to leave extra, so I'm not worried about waste because I've got a lot of it. But what I was saying earlier, you see the difference in the grain. All right, there's a little bit of a difference in the grain right there. All right, same thing right there. The middle is going to have more grain in the inside than it is the outside with these bushes. And the only way you could get that is if you get it offset when you turn it. See, when I screwed up in it, I had a lot more bark like that at the top on it. And then because of my machines are acting up, that's it. Okay, I have yet, since for some reason that thing doesn't want to cooperate, I have to take that whole thing apart again, physically take it apart. I could be here for 2-3 hours working on it. That's what happened to me last time. So, and yeah, I told people too at the same time, if you're smart, you'd buy another one that's had set up on it already, so that you have one set to go and you don't have to worry about interchanging. Because it takes way too long for you to fool with it, and I don't want to bore you guys with it. So that's the reason why I'm not doing trains right now, because all I'm doing is actually a wiring. Oh, there is one thing I want to show you though. Okay, so there's a couple of things. My lovely boss, my wife, the boss of the family, okay, she comes home with a couple of things. One being my new joiner. Now, to those people who don't know what a joiner is, let me see if I can find some keys. Well, anyway, when you cut a piece of wood like this, all right, the idea is to take the saw marks off and you run it through here. And it takes those saw marks off. The other thing is, if you got warped dog-eared things, it's also to take the warpage out of it. Now, most of the cases I'm going to probably use this for this, because I do tabletops, and you want to, when you get the glue joints, you want to be absolutely perfect this way. That's the other thing. If you can't rely on what you get at the store. For instance, you get a 1x6, what is it, 5 3/4 or something, from a store. Okay, first thing I do is I take a small square, and you take the square and you put it on something that's level and straight, and you go like this. Alright, so that's not straight. You can see a bevel in it. I can see a bevel in it. Okay? Now I've got a small one. That one's not bad, but it's inconsistent. When you're cutting wood, you have a tendency to rip things that are going to be, and this is where, when I do segmenting, it's critical that you get things that will go up straight. Otherwise, your work will look like crap. I haven't done a lot of segmenting lately because it is pain and it's time consuming and nobody buys a bowl. So most of the stuff I do now is just straight, although I'm doing some different techniques on them all. But hang on, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's one of my latest bowls. It's made out of black walnut. Okay, so the idea is to get a reveal like that in it. And it shows up It's hard to see on there, but the grain shows up really nice. It's got kind of like a reflective look at it when you shine it in wood. See, run that way. So the log went like this. When they cut it, the log was like this because your grain's going this way, which is good. It makes it fun. When you go to turn it, you want to go against the grain, which they call against the pith. Pith is this way, so you go against the pith. Now, I'm kind of backwards. Sometimes I like to go with the pith, depends on the wood, but that's something you experiment with. This, I forget what this is, but I made a box out of this. So it's a small piece, pretty simple. It's kind of like that piece I just did. All right, it's a simple box. Yeah, I mean, there's certain ways you do things to make them easier. So. And this has about 4 coats of wipe on poly on it. Now you can make them where you can put a finial on the end of it, make it taller, or a knob on it. You can go to Hobby Lobby and get those drawer knobs. I love doing that instead of the finial. For some reason, I'm just not into the finial. I mean, yeah. So this one I believe is 24 bucks. They sell these for 24 bucks. This one's 24 bucks. If you want to see it, okay, that's what it looks like. And then I could put a ceramic top thing on there if you wanted. This one's more expensive because of where I got it and how much it cost. 72 bucks for this. So now, it took me a while to do this. This stuff was hard as a rock, and I've got more over there. It came from, I have personally got it from West Virginia. And a friend of mine, Gerald Vance, look him up, Gerald Vance, Appalachian Heritage Wood Shop. Guy's awesome. And I have to give him credit for some of the stuff. He's taught me a lot. Gerald's an awesome guy, all right. I talk to him all the time on a regular basis, kind of like I do with Kilroy, except I'm always bugging Kilroy on his project there, Mr. Electronics. Hope you don't get too mad for me sending you stuff. But my big thing is there's 2 things. One is I'm an ex-firefighter with the Forest Service. Okay, so all my schooling was wrapped up between forestry, fire technology, but I was mainly aimed at forestry and the way trees grow. You know, reforestation, forest ecology. And so I know a lot about wood. And it's a key thing. I can talk about wood without me turning anything. Because it does make a difference. If you're turning something, you want something to show the grain, right? If you go to the store and you buy good wood, like here's a piece of Osage. Okay, so look at the green in that Osage. See, so now if you wanted to, for those of you who don't know how to do this, and you want live edge, you cut the corners off and you turn it this way. You go this way with it. So you save, and then you shape the bottom. So you save the bark on the outside. It's difficult. You got to know what you're doing because you don't want to take out all the I tend to, if this is the part that you're gonna take out, what I like to do is flatten it. There's another device you put on your lathe, and you screw that to it so that you're gouging the shape of the bowl this way first. And this, you don't want to put the screws in the side you got the bottom on. No, but I'd have to show that in the program, and I might. But I love doing it. Kilroy and everybody on here that's watched me do stuff over the years, thank you very much, by the way. I can't thank you guys enough. I don't have enough viewership anymore to do a lot more than other guys do. Like with Russ, with his 6-way or 8-way thing. If I could get more people to join me, it would be nice. The idea originally was to do shop tours and go around everybody's shop and just visit people, whether locally or around the country. I do that now, and I try to video everything I can with people, but I love the different techniques. I learn things And if I can pass them on to other people, that's fine. The only thing I'll tell you is there's two things I always tell people. This is a God's given way of me, anyway. If I was teaching you, the first thing I would say is picture something in your head, or if you have a drawing, go for that. Just do it. Do it your way. Don't do it somebody else's way. Do it your way. The second thing is have patience. Okay, because you know how many times I've screwed up around here. It's ridiculous. I just showed you that earlier. I've made a mistake and I've been doing this for years, so there you go. And being creative, I guess my thing is be creative. Don't do somebody else's stuff. You know, do something that makes you look like you. Pop, make it pop. Always when you shop for wood, unless you're doing cabinets or something, which I can understand. Make it show. Like that piece of wood I did, that table I did, make it show. That was one of the best pieces of furniture I've ever made in my life. I mean, I've been doing this for 40 years, off and on, doing construction and stuff. And so, I'm proud of that table. And there's always a reason I'll say, well, I'd love to make more, but the problem is where do I stick it? Because I wouldn't want to get rid of them. My wife will take them all. Well, and here's the thing though. Um, Sometimes people get a bad reputation for nothing. Okay, and I'll put a little politics into it. Okay, so Trump is in office, right? Whether you like him or not, he's in office. He's our president. Joe Biden is in office. He was our president. The philosophy behind a Democrat and a Republican are pretty much the same except for a few key factors. One thing I can tell you is we all have one common goal. You stand behind somebody and you go for it. Now, if there's things that they do that you think you can help correct it, then do it. But again, boots on the ground, okay? Unless you've done it, and this is where I go to woodworking. Unless you've done the work, that somebody else to do it, don't criticize it. Listen to what people go. And I love people criticizing me and telling me what I'm doing wrong. The big thing I get a kick out though is the gouging tools. So everybody hates it when I use the bowl gouge. I don't use the bowl gouge. I use my carbide tip. But I'll tell them, I don't care what you use. It's my tool. If you're a little guy starting out, don't be intimidated with this stuff. I love it. I'm lucky to have what I have. You could do a lot of this stuff on a lathe without buying all these saws, believe it or not. You get a lathe you could get a used one, $200, $300, $400. The one thing I'll tell you is that it's all the extra added costs, like the gouging tools. I mean, I think you can get an 8-piece gouging tool for like $80, $100. You add to it. The idea is to find your niche, add to it. I have hardly begun. I keep adding stuff to it. I know how to do pins now. That's another added cost. And doing a pin, by the way, is no big deal. It took me 5 minutes to carve out something for a pin. So it's kind of a joke with me. I can't be. Nobody ever let me down. I finally figured it out. Thanks to Marie. Okay, and I gotta thank the Windy City Turners Woodworking Club I'm in, and the Fox Valley Woodworkers, same thing. Everybody in there contributes to the club, and everybody in there's got some great stuff. Whether you're turning or making bandsaw boxes or something else, just do it. Go for it. Do it. I mean, it's wood, man. What can you? It's not like you're building a castle. Just do it. Don't be afraid if you screw up. Then start again. Why do you think I have so much scrap wood around here? Well, I gotta tell you, it makes it impossible. I keep every piece of scrap wood I can, even if it's little, because I always end up using it somewhere. Always. Never say never. That's what I always say. When somebody said you can't make sawdust bowls out of resin. I did. So there you go. Anyway, I'm going to get off and let you guys go. But again, if you haven't subscribed to me, do that, please, to let you know when I'm on. The second thing is, again, thank you very much for watching me. If there's a question or comment, leave it there. If you see anything that I've made that it's got a price tag on it, let me know. And I can ship it out to you. I sell them still. I just haven't made a lot lately. I've been messing with the trains. So anyway, I'll be on later on doing a train thing. So I do another session with train things. And that is, that's scary. That is scary compared to this. I know I messed up on that a little bit, but when you get into the wiring aspect of this, it's like, anyway, it's kind of like Kilroy. I'm in the same boat, buddy. I'm in the same boat. I should take a video and show you what I'm doing, because it's driving me nuts. I'm trying to put lights on all these houses and switch it. And the problem is the way I'm wiring stuff. I wired each switch individually for each house, and I'm like, that's not going to work. The whole idea was to segment, certain parts of the track. So, anyway, thanks again, guys. God bless. And if I don't do anything between now and New Year's, have yourself a great New Year's. And make sure that 25 is better than 24. And the one thing I'll say is, if you're not making sawdust, you're not being creative. Get with the program and do something. God bless you guys.